Have you ever wondered what goes into making a motorcycle? Well, today we're taking you inside one of the best motor factories in the world, Ducati in Italy. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of motorcycle production, let's talk about the history of Ducati. Founded in 1926 by the Ducati brothers, this Italian company started off producing radio components and vacuum tubes. It wasn't until 1950 that they began making motorcycles, and boy, have they made a name for themselves in the industry. Today, Ducati is known for their high-performance motorcycles and their signature red color. They have a cult following of loyal fans, and their bikes are coveted by enthusiasts all over the world. So, how exactly do they make these beautiful machines? Well, it all starts with the design. Ducati has a team of designers who sketch out the ideas for new motorcycles. Once a design is finalized, it's time for the engineers to bring it to life. The engineers at Ducati use computer-aided design (CAD) software to create detailed blueprints of the motorcycle. These blueprints are used to create the tooling and machinery needed for production. Once the machinery is in place, it's time to start building the motorcycles. But unlike some other factories where everything is automated, Ducati still relies on the skill and precision of their human workers. Each motorcycle goes through a series of stations on the assembly line where different parts are added by hand. The workers at Ducati are highly trained and take great pride in their craftsmanship. Of course, with any mechanical device, quality control is extremely important. At Ducati, they have a team of technicians who carefully inspect each and every motorcycle before it leaves the factory. They test the engine, the suspension, the brakes, and all the other components to make sure they meet Ducati's high standards. If anything is not up to par, it's sent back to be fixed before the motorcycle can be shipped out. Once the motorcycle passes all of the quality control checks, it's time for the finishing touches. This is where the Ducati signature red color is applied and any customizations requested by the customer are added. So, what goes into making a Ducati motorcycle? Well, it starts with the individual components that make up the bike. These include things like the engine, the frame, the suspension, the wheels, and all the other parts that come together to create the finished product. Ducati sources many of these components from suppliers, but they also have their own in-house production facilities for certain parts. For example, they have a foundry where they produce their own engine cases, and a forging plant where they make connecting rods and other critical components. One of the most complex and important parts of a motorcycle is the engine. At Ducati, the engine assembly process is a precise and delicate operation. The engine is built up from the bottom up, starting with the crankshaft and working up to the cylinder head. Each component is carefully inspected and assembled by hand to ensure that it meets Ducati's strict quality standards. Once the engine is fully assembled, it goes through a series of tests to ensure that it is performing at its best. This includes things like dyno testing to measure horsepower and torque, as well as real-world testing on the road or track. The next step in the production process is the construction of the frame and suspension. The frame is the skeleton of the motorcycle and it plays a critical role in the overall handling and performance of the bike. Ducati uses a variety of materials for their frames, including steel, aluminum, and carbon fiber. The material used depends on the specific requirements of the motorcycle and its intended use. Once the frame is completed, the suspension is added. This includes the front forks and the rear shock absorber, which help to smooth out the ride and provide stability. With the engine, frame, and suspension all complete, it's time for the final assembly. This is where all of the different components come together to create the finished motorcycle. The final assembly process includes adding the wheels, the bodywork, the electrical components, and all the other bits and pieces that go into making a complete motorcycle. Each step is carefully carried out by skilled craftsmen with a focus on attention to detail and quality. Let's take a closer look at some of the stations on the production line. The engine assembly station. This is where the engine is built up from individual components, as we discussed earlier. The engine assembly station is a highly specialized area of the factory and it requires a high level of skill and expertise. The frame and suspension station. This is where the frame and suspension are assembled and installed on the motorcycle. This station includes a variety of different tools and machines to help with the construction process. The electrical and electronic station. This is where all of the electrical components and wiring are installed on the motorcycle. This includes things like the headlights, taillights, instrument panel, and other electronics. The final assembly station. This is the last stop on the production line, and it's where all of the final touches are applied to the motorcycle. This includes things like adding the bodywork, attaching the wheels, and installing any customizations that have been requested by the customer. Of course, no production line would be complete without a quality control station. This is where the motorcycles are inspected to ensure that they meet Ducati's high standards. The quality control station includes a variety of different tests and inspections, including checking the engine, suspension, and brakes, as well as looking for any cosmetic defects. If anything is not up to par, the motorcycle is sent back for repairs before it can be shipped out. The production line at Ducati is a well-oiled machine that is designed to efficiently and effectively produce high-quality motorcycles. From the skilled craftsmen who build the bikes to the advanced technology and machinery that helps them do it, everything at Ducati is geared towards producing the best motorcycles possible. Once the motorcycle is fully assembled, it's time for the final test, the test ride. This is where the motorcycle is put through its paces to make sure that it is performing at its best. The test ride includes a variety of different tests, such as acceleration, braking, handling, and ride comfort. The motorcycle is evaluated on all of these factors to ensure that it meets Ducati's high standards. If everything checks out, the motorcycle is given the stamp of approval and it's ready to be shipped out to its new owner. But Ducati's history doesn't just live on in their current production motorcycles, it's also on display at the Ducati Museum in Bologna, Italy. The museum is home to a collection of over 150 motorcycles and other memorabilia from Ducati's long and storied history. It's a must-see for any Ducati fan visiting Italy. Ducati has a long tradition of racing and has had great success on the track. They have won numerous world championships in various classes, and their motorcycles have been ridden by some of the greatest names in motorcycle racing. The company's racing heritage is not just limited to the track, however. Many of the technological advancements and design elements that have been developed for racing have been incorporated into their production motorcycles, giving them a level of performance that is hard to match. So what does the future hold for Ducati? Well, the company is always looking for ways to push the boundaries of motorcycle technology and design. They have recently introduced electric motorcycles to their lineup and are constantly experimenting with new materials and production techniques. Ducati is also expanding their presence in the Asian market, with plans to open a new factory in Thailand. This will allow them to better serve their customers in this rapidly growing region. But it's not just about the motorcycles for Ducati, it's about the entire experience of being a Ducati rider. The company has a strong focus on building a community of passionate riders and offers a variety of events and activities for them to participate in. Whether it's organized rides, track days, or Ducati-themed events, there's always something going on for Ducati owners to get involved in. It's a great way for them to connect with other like-minded individuals and share their love of all things Ducati. In conclusion, Ducati is more than just a motorcycle company, it's a way of life. Their passion for performance and design is evident in every motorcycle they produce, and their commitment to their customers and the riding community is unmatched. In conclusion, making a motorcycle is a complex and intricate process that requires a combination of skill, precision, and attention to detail. At Ducati, they take this process very seriously, and it shows in the quality and performance of their motorcycles. We hope you enjoyed this in-depth look at the motorcycle production process at Ducati. Until next time, ride on!